who he is as a person, according to himself. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very nice. It's great to host you today, and I'd like you to just talk a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is George Ndung'U. I am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I am also a corporate lawyer, commercial lawyer, but with focus on dispute resolution. So I am the Vyuja Mahakamani lawyer. So
What? Yeah, but what you do is really exciting for the young Kenyans, and we'd like you to just give us like a preamble of what you think about tech and how it joins into legal issues and the processes.
Yeah. So I think legal tech is the next frontier in legal practice, if I can call it that. Or rather, tech generally is the next frontier in legal practice, because tech has just infiltrated every defense sphere, be it legal services, be it hospitality, be it medical services. It is the next frontier. It requires a lot of people to be innovative in the way that they practice. So I think traditionally law has been known as a very traditional and conventional practice. But the more we move on, particularly with access to justice, people require different ways of doing things. So for instance, the judiciary, for one, has been leading the effort in terms of making sure that it incorporates tech in the way that people access justice. You have online hearings now. You have people who do online filing, so I don't need to go to a registry, for instance, and file a document. I can just file a document online. And the beauty of things like that is it makes things, number one, accessible, but even expands the time that you have to do things. So I can file a document at 12 midnight and submit on my colleague, because even email is now recognized as a mode of service, as opposed to before, where there were very stringent rules and restrictions in terms of how we did and practiced law, particularly from a litigation perspective. So also I think there have been a lot of the jobs that you see now are jobs that didn't exist 10 years ago. I like to say, like, my job, for instance, didn't exist 10 years ago because specifically the team that I am in didn't have the practice that I have. But in the next 20 years, you can imagine what type of jobs we'll have. The lawyer that you see today is not necessarily the lawyer that you'll be seeing in another 10, 15 years. And it's important to start those conversations now, see how we can build the practice of law and bring innovation with it, so that at the end of the day, the products that we give to the citizenry is one that they value and appreciate. Because at the end of the day, legal services are, number one, services.
Yeah. For the longest time, I think young people have viewed, legal services as just out of reach because of their pockets, right? They've been pricey. Is tech helping to, bridge that gap and make legal services more affordable?
Yeah. So it's always a very interesting conversation when you talk about price for legal services, because lawyers will tell you it's not a consideration of price; it's a consideration of value. Because if you simply look at whatever a lawyer is giving you as a fee note and say, this guy is expensive, you will always feel like you're not appreciating. The lawyer will feel like they're not being appreciated for the value that they're giving, and you will feel like you're cutting a raw deal. So price and value is a different consideration. But yes, certainly it helps for legal tech. Actually helps in the delivery of services and making them cheaper, in the extent that legal tech will help productivity of law firms. Traditionally lawyers charge based on time. When somebody gives you a fee note, it's because of the time and the work that he will invest in your work. So that if you make law firms very efficient in the manner of doing things, then the price then goes down, right? So that if lawyers can then automate what we call mundane tasks, so stuff that traditionally takes a lot of time, like legal research, preparing fast drafts of documents, that at the end of the day will translate to equal value for the client, and we'll be able to bring the value of legal services down. Something else about tech generally is the view that I take about lawyers is that lawyers should be doing complex work, right? So lawyers shouldn't be doing the kawaida small things when it comes to legal practice, because we should have a citizenry that is well informed about the law.
Yeah.
Right? So everyone should understand basic principles about law. So that if we use tech to make sure that our people understand the law, they don't always need to go to a lawyer for a simple consult. Right? So if you understand general principles, say, of family law, right? And you understand how the law of marriages works. So you don't need to always go to a lawyer to consult and ask them for questions where people know necessarily the basic concepts of law. The best example they like to give is with contracts. We get into contracts every day, right? So everyone signs a contract for something or the other. But how many people understand the basic concepts of contract law?
True, yeah.
So I think every lawyer will tell you there are five elements of contract law. And it's not necessarily something that only lawyers need to know. I think it's a concept that everyone needs to know. So the fundamentals, so what is consideration, for instance, that you need to give a value for the service that you're giving or a value for the product that you're giving. And that value needs to be, there's a certain level of adequacy that it needs to meet. So that when you understand that as a person, then you know that, look, this is a concept that does not necessarily need me to go to a lawyer. I can go to the internet. I can go and use tech to inform myself and only go to a lawyer when I really need to go to a lawyer.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. I think we have a lot of questions because I feel like we need the details of how we can incorporate both. And of course, there's a big scare of how it should be done and the consultancy of it. So we're going to be coming back with more questions. And in just a bit, keep on turning up the volume, keep on using the hashtag Morning Fix. If you have questions, andikeni pale mtandaoni
at Nation FMKE,
at Brian _Aseli,
and at Mariam Bishar. We're getting back into the music with DJ Scissor.